I think for this, I feel the first time that we're kind of like, I feel like The Shattering, if it came out right now, would be very relative and or relevant. And I think this kind of takes it to a different space, but it still has a continuation of that. I can't believe that was already 20 years ago. So that's kind of breaks my brain, or 25 years ago. Ugh.
I keep it real whenever possible. Back to my East Coast roots. What's up, everybody? It's Keefy at GhostCultMag.com. I'm so stoked for the first time ever to be joined by Steve of Season to Risk. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, a band that I saw like 30 years ago in the clubs in New York City that I was always so high on and excited, and was probably the Perfect World record, right? In a Perfect World, always been a fan, and brand new record is out now, which I love, and we'll talk about in a second. Just catch us up on the last few years of the band. It's been a bit of a roller coaster in general, right?
Yeah, I mean, in the 90s, we did those two Columbia records and we toured constantly. And then we put out a couple independent records on a couple different labels and toured as much as we could. But at that point, we were all starting to work jobs more and try to figure out what our life looked like in middle age, I guess. And but every year we kind of all drifted across the country, but every year we'd always get together and do either a local show here in Kansas City or to do a rundown to Texas or Minneapolis, or like kind of pretty much in the Midwest. We hadn't gotten out to either of the coast in a long, long time. And I just think we've been reissuing our records, going backwards and reverse on vinyl. And it kind of was getting exciting. And we started getting together and writing some stuff in the studio. Dwayne, our guitar player's recording studio, and things were kind of coming together. And we're like, you know what, the time is ticking. Let's do something new. So what we've just released is some new material, but it is a collection of some rarities, and it's kind of a precursor to what will be coming over the next year. So
Amazing! I'm so pumped. You have no I can't
yeah,
contain it. I'm so pumped.
we're
I'm
proud of
not,
it. Thank you. I'm
yeah,
stoked.
I'm not, we're not supposed to have favorites as journalists, but like when a band you have liked for a long time or loved, like starts getting active again, it just does something to me. And out of curiosity, because you guys signed to Columbia early, and I don't know the prehistory of the band. I know there were some other local bands you guys kind of melded into. What was the scene like 35? It seems
Yeah,
crazy.
like
1990 is so
we
long
had
ago.
yeah, we actually started in the fall of '89.
Okay.
There was like a post-punk, post-hardcore scene here. We have a couple of iconic, all ages venues that we went to when we were kids. And, we got to see Black Flag, and some of us I didn't see Dead Kennedys, but some of us did. And Descendants came through, Toxic Reasons were a big deal. SNFU was a big deal. And then like some of the metal crossover stuff like Mind Over Four, we started seeing some of these, and everybody was constantly, we have like a pretty cool art scene here as well, and an art school. And I think that there's kind of always a push to try to be creative and unique, and take your influences and build something new and unique. And Kansas City's always had some weirdo bands like, oh gosh, Mudhead, and all kinds of weird stuff came out of here that inspired us and influenced us. So, and
And
close to like, we weren't at that age, we weren't above getting in the van or getting in the car and going up to Chicago then go and drive in 8 hours Chicago to see, Ministry or whatever, or De Kreutzen or something, and then driving straight back. But
that was the golden age of Wax Tracks and
yeah.
Ministry, and kind of a lot of bands coming up in that era. Obviously, Nine Inch Nails not too far away before the relocation. What was the local scene like for you on the way up? Because look, I love the Midwest. I got to spend some time the last couple of years in the Midwest, St. Louis, not KC yet, but eventually, and Chicago. And the Midwestern niceness is definitely a thing. But like I'm biased. I have like my New York City bias, CBGBs, and like we had like an embarrassment of riches of places to play and a scene to be part of if you wanted to participate. What was it like for you guys?
I mean, for us, the dream was always to get to Chicago and then to CBGBs, which we eventually did. So it's dope that we got to play there. I don't know, 4 or 5 times, maybe more. I can't remember, but not obviously not the heyday, but but it's all a heyday there, right? But here, there was a little scene like there were some bands that we did a lot of stuff with. Shiner, Molly McGuire, Giant's Chair, Outhouse. They were always like kind of there was a scene that like I'm just thinking of, I don't know, off the top of my head, Sin City Disciples. We would do shows and like we did this like thing on Mondays before we got signed and at this club that was like, you guys can have the club on Mondays. You got to bring your own PA and you can book whoever you want. And this is a club that booked like, I mean, I saw Ministries there. I saw Soundgarden and Prong and all kinds of bands there. Like it hell if it was a pretty big club, but it had the room where the room was nooked out. Whatever we did these Monday nights, we lugged our PA in there and we kind of tried to help nurture that scene. So there was always, I mean, even before that, there was like loft parties and underground DIY stuff. I mean, we were always part of all that. And a lot of those bands got in the van and toured, like about the same time we were getting going and got out of the Midwest. But yeah, I don't know. I'm proud to be from here. We are, a lot of those guys are still doing stuff too, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, Shiner. Yeah, nice. By the way, what year did you get to CBGB's? I'm curious.
I think I guess it would be 90.
So you might have speaking of Prong, you might have run into Tommy there because
Oh yeah.
Tommy Prong was working for
So
most of the '90s till he moved to California. Yeah.
yeah, our first tour actually outside of the Midwest was with Prom.
Yeah.
We went up to Seattle with them actually.
That's awesome. And I saw you guys later, I believe, with Quicksand on Manic Compression, I think.
I don't
Maybe not.
I don't recall that one, but it's possible.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the blurriness.
So it's at a venue that's like an apartment building now in Midtown Manhattan, and I won tickets from a rock radio station
Nice.
that was randomly. I'm pretty sure it was Quicksand because I remember the contest. But I saw you guys live a few times, and live is records are great. I love you guys live. Really exhilarating, captivating performances and like really engage the crowd, which a lot of people are not good at or didn't want to do in the, I don't want to bag on Nirvana, but the post Nirvana, I'm a sad rock star, kind of look at my hands and not look at the crowd thing. And y'all were engaging. And I love that personally. So good times live. Let's talk about 1-800-Meltdown, which I kind of see over your shoulder in the background. And I love, I'm such a nerd, and I kind of I didn't get to do like the full record store day this year, so I missed out on the vinyl. But it's so cool. This release is great, and it's so cool to get like what you guys did with the packaging. You want to just talk about the packaging for a quick second?
Like,
Yeah, I don't even mind that you did that. That's all. I love that you have it right there.
gotta be backwards. Well, I just got it myself.
Nice, yeah.
We finished the recording of Echo Chamber, the lead track, just in December, and it was rushed. We've been planning it, but we finally got it going. But yeah, this is some artwork by a buddy of ours. We call him Lugnut, and it is glow in the dark, which I think is super cool. Yeah, I just love what he did with it. And it is, like I said, there is material that was never, there's a brand new song we just finished recording called Echo Chamber. It's kind of the precursor to all this stuff that we're still working on. And then there's a track that came out in 2007 that was on like a local fanzine CD comp that like no one has, it's just no access to it. And then there's a bunch of outtakes from the Men Are Monkeys sessions and a song from that was on the Strange Days soundtrack, the film Strange Days that we were in. But we didn't, they cut our song from the soundtrack, the released soundtrack. So we put it out on a split 7-inch with Glazed Baby way back in the day, a very small run of that, but those are impossible to find. So it's kind of collected some old things and then have the newer stuff on here. And just really, I'm a vinyl obsessive. So really getting to put this stuff on vinyl was kind of the next step in the reissues. The Columbia Records, we finally got some rights to those. And in the next 6 months, I guess, a little longer than that. In the next 9 months, they will be coming out on remastered vinyl as well. I can't talk too much about that yet because we're still kind of solidifying but yeah, that's kind of, maybe I've rambled too much about the 1-800 meltdown, having a meltdown of my own.
No, I'm so into it. By the way, I'm all over those reissues whenever they happen. I will gladly take all my money because I need them so much in my collection. That's really like one of my pinnacle times in the world and life and music inform me. And but yeah, man, the new song, I imagine Echo Chamber is like maybe a portend of things to come. It's super cool. I really appreciate that in 2025, you guys, or late 24, you're writing a new song that's kind of got like new vibes, but also like it's still you. I like it.
Yeah, we're stoked on it. I mean, I always felt like we were always a few years ahead of ourselves in anything that we released. And I think for this, I feel the first time that we're kind of like, I feel like The Shattering, if it came out right now, would be very relative and or relevant. And I think this kind of takes it to a different space, but it still has a continuation of that. I can't believe that was already 20 years ago. So that's kind of breaks my brain, or 25 years ago. Ugh. So,
Right, next year is 25.
yeah.
Why? Where is it going? The time is evaporating. It's like living in a casino with no clocks, no daylight. I don't know what happened. And I think the last few years, the plague,
Oh,
life in America, I think it's just escalating and just the quickening
yeah.
toward
Oh,
the fiery end. I don't know.
yep.
I'm a positive person mostly, but geez, but we need art. We need reactionary, positive, angry, strong, beautiful, noisy art right now. That's what we need in music. That's what we need in art. I love that you're an art person, also. Me too. And almost all my friends that are not musicians are artists. Like universally some kind of creative people, and yeah, that's why I do what I do. That's why people ask me, why do you do this? This is insane. You don't have corporate backing. Because this is my whole life. This is it. This is what I do. Out of curiosity, like, do you feel like, so interestingly enough, you brought up the soundtracks, right? And yeah, Strange Days was a good film. Soundtracks were very political and politicized back in the day. Like, if you got one, it was awesome. If you got a few, it could change your career, right? I remember talking to Stabbing Westward, Christopher, about this, where he's like, for some reason, our label pushed to get us on every one of those soundtracks for a long time. And, it started with Clerks with them. Did you see like a bump after the movie? Because it was, it was not a huge hit, but it was, I think it was a liked movie and probably a decently attended film back then. Did you see a
Um,
bump in your career? Did it help? There's no streaming back then, thankfully. But
yeah.
did you see like people were like, "Oh, cool, I heard you in the movie." Did that happen?
Can't remember, like it was such a really active time for us. We'd spent a whole summer at BC Studio in Brooklyn working on that material, and that song was recorded there too. That ended up in that film, and then we left to go to LA to go do that film, and then we came back a month later and finished the record. Then the record came out, and then we went. I can't remember if that was when we went out with COC and Monster Magnet, or if that was. I get my timeline all confused. So I don't know. It feels like the record finally came out. We were working really hard. And touring, but then it wasn't that long after it came out that Columbia did the big, or all of the majors did the big drop. Like they just dropped hundreds of bands. It just like, and so to me, it feel like that was at like a height, but it probably was a whole year before, like the movie didn't come out for a year, like I think it kind of didn't really coalesce the right way. I think it kind of crossed over right there. It was kind of like, this is happening. No, 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 and then we're like, okay,
Bullet time from the
how do we
Matrix.
refigure this? And we just kept doing what we did for as long as we could afford it, really. And then we just all started working in clubs and stuff. And then we, put a couple more records out and toured when we could. And then Dwayne opened his recording studio, and I opened a club, and that's kind of what we did for the last 20 years. Just working here and in music, but locally. So
Right. I definitely saw that Monster Magnet COC tour also. 'Cause again, I made it a point to go. And I was out every day at one point when I wasn't with my own band. I was out watching bands, and that was a good time. It was a good time. Did you meet any of the cast on the? That was a pretty, if I
Yeah.
recall, like William Hurt, Jennifer Connelly, Kiefer Sutherland, Richard O'Brien. That was a pretty good cast.
I'm going to correct you. I think you're thinking, what movie are you thinking of?
Oh, not yeah.
I want to
Sorry.
know what movie you're thinking of because
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm
I'm
thinking
like,
of it. I'm confused my movies.
this was Angela Bassett, Ray
Oh,
Fiennes,
that's right. That's
Julia
right. Yeah, that's
Lewis.
a good one though. Yeah, Strange
Yeah.
Days. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of
She's
Dark
like in
City.
a band and
Yep, yep, yep. Oh yeah, that's an insane.
has
That's
the
like again
cyber thing, you know?
pre Matrix
Yeah.
dystopian ish future.
Oh, yeah. It was,
Really great story. Might have even been like a William Gibson short story. I'm not sure.
yeah. I don't know like
Uh.
what the genesis. So,
I need more coffee.
yeah, I've had
More
mine. I'm
More
jacked.
coffee, more coffee, more coffee. But yeah, I'm so stoked. Again, I hope this meltdown record, has done what you wanted it to do. It's certainly cool. I love the unboxing video. Like I said, the packaging's dope. If you want to shoot me your artist's info, we'll link it in the description as well as how to buy the record. Because we
Yeah.
love to promote everybody,
Yeah.
everybody's
I'll
little
email that
family.
afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, follow up with me. And yeah, I'm excited for the reissues. I'd love to hear new music, and I know you've done some sporadic touring. What's the prognosis? Do you have anything you can announce for this year, local shows or
So
perhaps tour plans?
we actually take off next Wednesday for
That's
10
right.
days. We'll be at TVI in New York on the Sunday, the 23, 4, 5, 6, 7th, 27th. That sound right? Sunday, the
Yeah,
27th
yeah.
of April. Our first time playing in the New York City area in 25 years, like
Mm.
with Season to Risk. I came through there with a different band a little bit in the mid tens. It sounds so weird to say,
It's so
but
weird.
yeah, we're pretty excited. We're going to do this run, and then once we announce the reissues and that whole deal, we're kind of working on some stuff for the fall. And we're not. I mean, we all still are pretty. A couple of us have families, and we're all still pretty active with our businesses, and so touring has to come when it can come. When it coalesces properly. But
Right on. That's cool. I'm so stoked. I got to take a second look at those dates and see if I have anybody who can come out because we'd love to cover the tour if possible. But if not, we'll catch you on the next one. I'd love to see you in person, either
yeah.
out elsewhere in the country or if you get out here to Cali or somewhere within striking distance where I can
Oh
get
yeah,
to.
I didn't know
Yeah,
exactly
I'm
what.
in San Francisco. I'm originally an East Coast guy. I was New York City and Boston for 30, 40-ish years, and then I'm here now.
So
So
I think that the plan is to try to do. We don't have anything in stone yet, and we're getting kind of getting close to being able to pull it off. Like we need to start working on it. But West Coast dates in towards the end of the year.
Yeah, fantastic. We'll be around. And just, I always like to end these with a wild card question. I had a different one in mind, but then I saw the pile of vinyl. So now I have to ask the question as a fellow vinyl nerd, what is your single most favorite vinyl in your collection?
Oh God. Hmm.
Or your most prized, like what was the thing you most like, what did you beat some kid on eBay for that was like, yeah.
Oh man, I don't know that I could say without having to go down to the stacks and look. But I would say I have a funny eBay story though. When I first got on eBay, I didn't understand how it worked at all, or I wasn't paying attention. And because you said Joy Division, it made me think of it. Or did you say Joy Division? Did my brain say Joy Division?
Maybe subconsciously, I'm
Uh,
telepathically
I I
listening to
was
Joy
getting
Division.
obsessed with Joy Division, and I wanted it all on vinyl, and so I bid on a ton of shit, and I ended up with so many duplicates and all kinds of pressings of like their whole catalog, and I way overspent. I didn't expect to win them all, and I pretty much won everything. And then I was like, wait, how? Then I learned how to use eBay properly.
I'm the guy that accidentally pre-orders multiple versions of the same album I don't
I
need.
do
And I
that all.
definitely don't want more than one copy. It's abusive and I don't need to do it to my bank account. But I
Yeah.
definitely have bought like, oh, why is two of these showing up? Why did I get a
Yep.
second pressing of this? I didn't,
Yeah.
oh, the different color? I didn't care about that. Like, and I do care about that, but like, why?
I did it with
And
Jesus
yeah.
Lizard off. I did
Oh,
it
yeah, yeah,
on. So I'm like, they
yeah.
come. Then I'm like, oh, I have birthday presents for everybody.
Yes, that's exactly right. New Jesus Lizard EP was also a record store day thing for only America, and I had some people grousing at me overseas, like, "How dare you get one?"
Yeah.
I love them. I love that they're also back. Like that's that era of bands for me that you're part of and they're part of, and I know there's a lot. They'll never come back, but I know there's a live Butthole Surfers coming out. So nostalgia is a very powerful drug, but also cream rises to the top. Great bands are eternal.
Yeah.
And this has been great to chat with you. I'm such a fan, and I'm so excited for the future for you. At least the next 9 months or more.
Yeah.
And because who knows, we can't see that far ahead after that with this world. But Steve, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your
Thank you
story
so
and
much.
and, and tolerating my slight fanboying out a little
Oh,
bit. I try not to, but sometimes I
I'm
can.
I'm stoked to know that there's people out there that give a shit. So
That's my favorite word, or one of my three favorite words, stoked. My producer will be dismayed that I now got you to use it. But thanks again. Shout out to the guys. Thank them. And
for
thank you
sure.
for
Yeah.
1-800 Meltdown. And thanks for joining Ghost Cult. I appreciate you. We'll do it again sometime.
We appreciate you too. Maybe we'll see you in the fall or winter. So sure.
Yes. Yes, sir. Take care. Have a great day.